right, welcome back everybody to Master Stack. It's great to have you here for another deep dive. You know, last time we got into the different OpenShift versions, right? We had the enterprise version and then the OKD, the community version.
Exactly. A lot of folks are using those.
Yeah, and we kind of got into, you know, which one you might want to use for different situations.
Right.
But today we're going even deeper.
Oh yeah?
We're going to look at OpenShift's architecture. This is like a, you know, if OpenShift was a car, we're popping open the hood, looking at the engine and all the parts and how it all fits together.
It's a pretty powerful engine too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? OpenShift is all about, you know, deploying and managing and scaling these containerized applications. And it's powered by Kubernetes.
Right.
But it's Kubernetes, like with all these extra features.
Exactly.
Especially for the enterprise.
Yeah. You know, Kubernetes can be a little bit tricky for folks to get started with. A lot of moving parts. So OpenShift really tries to make it more accessible for both developers and administrators.
Right.
So yeah, that's really where the power of the architecture comes in.
Okay, so before we get into all the specifics,
Yeah.
why should someone care about OpenShift's architecture? Like, what's the big picture?
Well, I mean, I think if you understand how it all works, then you're going to be a much better user of OpenShift.
Makes sense.
Right. Whether you're the one who's actually writing the code and pushing it out, or you're the one who's managing the whole system.
Right, keeping everything up and running and all that.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's break this down then.
All right.
Where do we even start with something like this?
Well, I think it helps to think about the different types of people who are using OpenShift.
Okay.
Right. So on the one hand, you've got developers who want to, you know, build their apps and get them deployed quickly. And then you've got administrators who need to make sure that the whole platform is secure, it's stable, it can scale up as needed.
So we've got two really different groups here with really different needs.
Yeah.
So how does OpenShift manage that?
Yeah, well, that's where the architecture really shines.
Yeah.
And a good place to start, I think, is with something called the control plane nodes.
Okay.
These are like the brains of the operation.
Control plane nodes, the brains.
Yeah, so they're the nodes that are responsible for managing the entire cluster. And they house all sorts of key components.
Okay.
So you've got things like OpenShift services, networking functions, and then the core hooks of Kubernetes itself.
Okay.
So you've got like the scheduler, the controller manager, and the API server.
Okay, now hold on. You said API server. For someone who's not a Kubernetes expert, what exactly is that?
So the API server is basically the central communication hub for the entire cluster.
Okay.
So it's like the single entry point for all operations and requests. And it makes sure that everything runs smoothly.
Okay, so it's like the conductor of an orchestra.
Yeah, exactly, keeping everything in sync. Now, another really important part of the control plane is the cluster version operator.
Okay.
And what this does is it helps to manage upgrades.
Okay.
So as new versions of OpenShift come out, it can help you upgrade your cluster seamlessly without having to take everything down.
Oh, okay, so that's good news, because nobody wants downtime, right?
No, absolutely not. At CD, basically a distributed database.
Okay.
And it stores the entire cluster's configuration and state.
Wow.
So everything about your cluster, all the settings, all the applications that are running, it's all stored in at CD.
Okay.
And that's super important because it means that even if one of your nodes crashes, you don't lose your entire setup.
Right, it's all backed up there and et cetera.
Exactly, so you can just recover from that crash.
Okay, so we've got the control plane nodes, which are the brains.
Right.
We've got et cetera, which is like the backup system.
Yes.
Then I'm also seeing here we have compute nodes.
Yes, the compute nodes.
What are those?
That's where the action happens.
Okay.
So the control plane is making all the decisions. The compute nodes are actually running the workloads.
Okay, so this is where the pods and the containers are running.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So you'll have multiple compute nodes in a cluster, and they're all talking to the control plane,
Right.
getting instructions,
Okay.
and running the workloads.
Okay.
Now, the compute nodes themselves have some very important features.
Okay.
So one is observability. You really need to be able to see what's going on
Right.
in your workloads.
Okay.
So OpenShift provides a lot of tools for that.
Like what?
You have things like Kibana and Elasticsearch for log aggregation.
Okay.
So all of the logs from your applications, from the system components, they're all gathered together in one place.
So you can easily search them and see what's going on.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And then you have things like Prometheus and Grafana, which give you a more real-time view
Okay.
of the performance of your applications. So you can see things like CPU usage, memory usage, network traffic, all of those kinds of things.
Okay, so you can see if you have any bottlenecks
Exactly.
or anything that's spiking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, if something goes wrong, you want to be alerted.
Right.
So there's Alert Manager
Okay.
that can send you notifications
Okay.
if something needs your attention.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's observability. Another important part of the compute nodes is networking.
Okay.
So you have things like SDN, software-defined networking, which gives you a lot of flexibility and control over how your network traffic flows within the cluster.
Okay.
You have things like the node tuning operator,
Okay.
which can tune the performance of the nodes
Okay.
to make sure that they're running as efficiently as possible.
Uh-huh.
And then you have things like DNS and router
Right.
for internal and external communication.
Okay.
So there's a lot going on in the compute nodes as well.
Yeah, sounds like it. Sounds like it. Okay.
And then you have some other key features,
Okay.
like the Operator Lifecycle Manager, which manages operators.
Okay.
Think of an operator as a package of expertise
Okay.
for a particular application or service.
Uh-huh.
So it knows how to deploy it, it knows how to manage it, it knows how to upgrade it.
So that you don't have to know all the specifics.
Exactly.
Oh.
You have the Integrated Image Registry,
Okay.
which is where you store your container images.
Uh-huh.
You have Machine Management,
Okay.
which manages the underlying infrastructure.
Okay.
So if you need to add more nodes to your cluster,
Right.
Machine Management can take care of that.
Okay.
And then underpinning all of this is the kubelet,
Uh-huh.
which is the agent that runs on each node,
Okay.
and it's responsible for managing the containers on that node.
So it's talking to the control plane
It's talking to the control plane, getting instructions.
and then saying, okay, this container needs to run.
Yeah, and it makes sure that they're running.
Okay.
It makes sure that they're healthy.
Gotcha. All right, so we've got the control plane.
Yes.
We've got the compute nodes.
Yeah.
What about the underlying infrastructure?
Yes.
That's got to play a role in this somewhere, right?
It does. It does.
So this would be like the physical servers
Yeah.
or the virtual machines.
Yeah.
Or the cloud.
Exactly. Yeah. So OpenShift can run on all of those.
Oh,
It
yeah?
can run on bare metal. It can run on virtual machines. It can run in the cloud.
So it doesn't matter. It's hardware agnostic.
It's hardware agnostic. Exactly.
Gotcha.
And it integrates with that infrastructure to get the resources that it needs.
Okay.
So compute, network, storage.
So it's telling the infrastructure, hey, I need this.
Exactly.
Gimme.
And the infrastructure provides it.
All right. So this has been a really great overview, I think, of the OpenShift architecture.
Yeah, I think so too.
So to kind of sum up what we've talked about, we
Yeah.
have the control plane,
Yes.
which is the brain. We have the compute nodes,
Right.
which are the muscles. And then we have the underlying infrastructure,
The foundation.
which is the foundation. Yeah.
Exactly.
And all of those things work together
Yep.
to create this platform that can run applications.
Exactly.
That's really cool. So for our listeners who are interested in getting their hands dirty and trying this out,
Yes.
where can they go?
There's a few options.
Okay.
So there's Code Ready Containers, which is CRC.
Uh-huh.
That's a lightweight version of OpenShift that you can run on your laptop.
Okay.
It's great for just getting started, experimenting.
So if you just want to kind of kick the tires,
Exactly.
see what it looks like.
And then there's the Developer Sandbox,
Okay.
which is a cloud-based option.
Yeah.
So you don't have to install anything on your laptop.
Oh.
You just go to a website and you can spin up a cluster.
Okay.
It's free.
Okay.
It's temporary, but it gives you a full-fledged OpenShift cluster.
Okay, great. So there are options there for folks who want to try it out.
Yeah.
And then in our future modules,
Right.
we're going to be digging in deeper,
We will.
showing people how to do stuff.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned.